Good morning, students. In this video, we are going to learn something about rotational motion, a system of particle and a rotational motion. This video will contain the topics as you can see on the screen. We will talk about the rigid body, its translation, pure translation or other with examples, rotational plus translation motion with examples, only rotational motions, a rigid body about xy axis and on the z axis how it performs, precision moreover the center of mass of two particles and three particles on n particles where it is, why the object has the different center of mass according to their shape and size, vector notation of the center of mass of a rigid body of a thin rod, ring, disc, sphere and cylinders. This we are going to talk in this video. Okay, now see, first of all you should know what is a rigid body. Ideally a rigid body with a perfect definite and unchanging shape. So if the distance between all the particles are such, a body is not changed, you can say it is a rigid. Moreover, a system of particle which has the intermolecular distance remains invariant is also known as a rigid body. Okay, now first of all you should know there are different types of motions when object is in the moving position, or you can say a rotational kinematics and dynamics are related to that. All the particles of a rigid body move along a circular path, and if the center of all this circular path defines the straight line through a motion of a body is called a rotation motion. But pure rotational is kind of different thing. Note, no real body truly rigid, since the real bodies deform under the influences of the forces, but many situations their deformations are neglected and hence they are considered as a rigid body. The types of the rigid body can be, first you can have a pure translation motion. Here see the motion, first example, a motion of a block on a inclined plane. It's just, if you keep it on the inclined plane, it will just move without giving a force. It depends on the angle, it depends on the which angle or which what is the height of that inclined plane, it will move. Here the pure translation of all the particle body have the same velocity at same time. Okay, so that's why this is the example for pure translation motion. Now see, second one is the example for motion of a parabolic path along with the rotational. So if you just throw any object from one place to another, it will move from just think that you are having a ball in your hand and you are throwing, so how it will move. For example, a body is restricted to move only with the translation. So here it's only translation, no rotational motion we are giving. So all the particle body have the same velocity at the same time. But here also uncertainty law is applied. A branch of a physics dealing with the rotational motion without considering the cause is called a rotation kinematics, while the branch of a physics dealing with the rotational motion along with the cause and properties is called a rotational dynamics. Okay, moreover you should to know that a relation between the variable rotational motion and variable of linear motion, there are angular displacement, angular speed and angular velocity also depends on that. You can say that your omega is equal to delta theta upon delta t. Okay, so you can write your omega, you can write that your omega is equal to delta theta upon delta t. It's a true equation such that your angular displacement is a upon time interval is known. Moreover, you know that your v is equal to r omega from the previous chapters. So here the relation between the angular velocity and the linear velocity also can be defined using this equation. Now see the first example, that a wooden or metallic cylinder rolling down in the inclined plane undergoes the translation and rotational motion will have the forces on the different direction. So you can see that how it is and where is the P point, it's moving. A velocity at P4 is 0. Velocity any particles come into the contact of the surface inclined to the movement will become 0. This is the important point to remember. Now here you can see another example that there is a translation motion as well as the rotational motion. Okay, so you can see that example that a body is moving with the translation as well as the rotational, a particle body having a different velocity at a different time. Here what will be the velocity? It will change till here because it is also having the rotational motion. It's not only a translation motion here. Okay, now see here what is meant by rotational motion. In a rigid body, if an object is fixed about its axis and every particle of a body moves in the circle which lies in the plane perpendicular to the axis and center of its axis, as you can see on the screen, that type of motions are rotational motion. There should be a fixed rotation axis or axis of rotation from which point the object is moving. Here you have to more remember that the other things which also act as angular momentum of a rigid body. So what is an angular momentum? See, suppose your L is your angular momentum, so I omega will be the situation where it will have its angular momentum such that your dl is equal to I omega d phi by dt is equal to I alpha, which is equal to your torque, and torque is nothing but a force. So you can write your L is constant here in this situation. Okay, now other example is a fan or a top till when it is moving straight, or a pot rotating on a vertical axis. Okay, simple. Now if a rigid body, it's rotating about a y-axis, the particle describes a circular motion with plane of a axis lies in xy plane that is perpendicular to the y-axis, as you can see on the screen. Here it's moving, it is perpendicular to y-axis. Here see, the rotation is here, so particle is moving in this direction. Now see what a precision motion. Precision motion, you can take an example of a top. Okay, uh, as you can see on the screen, the precision of a rigid body about a fixed axis of a rotation itself rotates about another axis passing through the fixed point. Suppose this is rotating in one direction, and if its axis changes, this also will go in that point. Okay, the rotation is such that the other example is, you can see on the screen, is a fan, but which is rotating 360 degree. A precision axis of a rotation is not a fixed, but a point of the contact is fixed. At any point or instantaneous, the axis of rotation passes through the point of contact. In each case of the spinning top, the point of the contact O with the ground fixed, but the axis of the rotation passing through the point of the rotation about its y-axis. Okay, it's a simple thing. Now, other thing you have to remember that the motion of the rigid body, which is not provided or not pivot or fixed in the some way, is the other pure translation or a combination of translation and rotation. So it's a combination of both the motion, translation and rotational in some cases. In further study, we will consider a simple case involving only the rotation of rigid bodies where one axis is fixed. For example, see, if you want to find the center of mass for body, so how you can find? First, consider the object. Consider objects, a two particle system along with the x-axis or y-axis, depends on the situation, with mass m and m1 and m2 at the distance of x1 and x2 representing where O is the origin. Okay, so you can write the center of mass in the form of x is equal to m1 x1 plus m2 x2 upon m1 plus m2. That's x, where x can be regarded as the mass weighted of the mean of x1 and x2. Okay, so that's just a center of mass for two particles. But you know that your if the two particles have the same mass, so you can write your m is same for m1 m2, so m will be considered as common, so you can write your mx1 plus mx2 upon 2m, and mm will get cancelled. Thus the particles of the equal masses of the center of the mass lies exactly between. It is in such that if the object is having the same masses throughout, then it will lie exactly in the center. It can be here in any of the, consider a equilateral triangle, that also you will get in the center of mass. Okay, simple. Now considered an particle system. Here also the case will be the same, but generally you will write that your equation in form of summation of mixi, where I is equal to 1 to n, upon summation of mi, where I is equal to m to n, where mi is the sum of the mass of all the particle, hence total mass of a body. Okay, can be easy. Now here, see, for the three particle you can consider it can be in the center or not, it depends on the shape. In few cases it can be even outside the object. For example, if you consider this shape, the center of mass can be here. Even if you consider this shape, the center of mass can be here also. So that's why you might be seeing some of the object are hanged in such a way that you are taking a pin or a kind of thin object, placing it one point on that and balancing on other object. So that's balancing done because the center of mass is out of the particle. For three particle is same, you can write your x and y terms. Okay, so in terms of m and x, the same formula, that summation of xi mi upon summation of mi. Now here in the equilateral triangle you can see it's exactly on the center. Now for n particle for three dimensions, you can see the particles are moving, so or is in the motion or in the study. So for center of a mass, or you can consider that for one whole object there are different particles, the different weights at different position, so that can be written in this manner. So for x and y you can write in terms of summation of xi upon summation of mi, so you will get the equation same. Now for the vector notation it will be a same. The above equation can be written by three different axes expressed by a single equation using a vector notation. If your position vector I term and r vector position of the center of mass is r xi yi zi, so you can write your in term and r capital R, so you can write in terms of vector I is equal to summation of mi vector r upon summation of I. Okay, but remember in this case you have to, your L vector is r vector cross p vector. Okay, now if the number of the particle of such body are so long that it is impossible to carry the summation of individual particle, in this case you will write a in different form. You will take a small elements delta m, m1 m2 m2 m3 goes on as per your suggestion, and you can write the equation in that form, summation of delta m upon xi upon summation of delta m. Then you can integrate this sum to get your finalized answer, n is made bigger and bigger, and hence delta m is smaller and smaller, and this expression become exactly summation of delta mi becomes integration of dm will m, summation of delta mi xi will become integration of x dm, summation of delta mi yi integration will become y dm. Similarly for z, it depends on the which coordinate you are taking. So coordinates of the center of mass now are 1 upon m integration of x dm. Similarly for y and z, so your in general you can write integration of r can be written as r center of mass is equal to 1 upon m integration of r vector dm. For the thin rod, center of mass for the thin rod, consider a rod with a radius having a small value dm, this smaller and the length l. So here, as we talked about, the center of mass lies in the center of the object. Taking O as your that point at the rod, so x-axis to be along with the length of rod, and we can say that the reflection symmetry for every element dm of a rod x with its element of same mass dm located at minus x. So you can take a reflex symmetry for such kind of cases. Okay, now for C, it's very simple for the sphere or a round object, it will lie on the center. But for the uneven object, it can be outside or inside the object. Okay. Now see, the motion of a center of mass. Let us consider the physical importance of the center of mass for the system of particle. We can write in equation in terms of summation of xi ri upon m. So mr is a summation of is equal to summation of mi ri. You've just taken on one side your m. So you can write your mr is equal to m1 r1 plus m2 r2 plus m3 r3 and goes on. So if I just differentiate these two sides of the equation with respect to time, I can write m dr by dt is equal to m dr1 upon dt and goes on, and you know that your dr by dt is equal to v, velocity. So I can write as mv is equal to m1m plus v1 plus m2 v2 and goes on. This will show your the equation, and even differentiating one more time you will get is your dv by dt form. So that is equal to ma. So you can write your ma is equal to force F. So Newton's second law of force acting on the first particle is given by F1 m1 a1, and it goes for the other particles also. Thus total mass of the system accelerated of the center of mass with the vector and the sum of the forces acting on the system particle. Now when we talk about the force on the particle, it's not a single force but a vector sum of all the forces. You have to remember this. So we know the second law, that ma is equal to F, Newton's second law. So where F represents the sum of the external force acting on the particle. So above equation state the center of mass moves as if the mass of the system concentrated at the center of mass and all the external force applied at a point. Okay. Now here you have to remember that the motion of the center of mass, no knowledge of the internal force of the system of particle is required. For such purpose we need to know the external forces. Okay. The system may be a collection of the particles. So you have to think that there are kinds of internal motion, or it may be a rigid body. It has the either pure rotation motion or combination of rotational and translation motion, or a translation motion. So whatever the system and the motion of its individual particles, the center of mass moves around the about equations. Okay. Now see, in this case, for example, the center of mass is independent of external force. Wherever you think, it depends, it will be going in that position and it will be there only, it does not move, but with a certain shape it can change. Now linear momentum of a system of a particle. For linear momentum, you know that equation is mv is equal to p, and you can write your when differentiating with p by dt, so you will write p by dt is equal to force, because p is equal to mv. Okay, and dv by dt is r. So now in this case you can consider your particles with masses and velocities, as you can see on the screen, and momentum will be written in p is equal to summation of pi is equal to 1,2,3,4, it goes on, and p is equal to mv. So m1 v1, m2 v2, it will goes on, and so p is equal to mv. Thus the total momentum of the system of the particle is equal to the product of the sum of the system of particle and velocity of its center of mass. So now when we differentiate with respect to time, you will see that your dp by dt is equal to m dv by dt, but just by cancelling taking a term on other side, you will take your dv by dt is m, so dp by dt is equal to m. So ma is equal to again f, because dp by dt is f. So here also second law of motion of the system is extended to a particle, second particle also. Now, but if the sum is such that your dp by dt is equal to, so p remains constant, and this statement allows the conservation of the linear momentum of the system of particle. What is cross product or a vector product? Now, if a vector product of a symbol multiplied between a vector represented by x and the resultant product is a vector. So, for example, torque is defined as a product of force and momentum arm, and a force momentum arm and torque all are vector. Okay, see the example. A cross b is equal to a b sine theta. So sine theta is a cross b upon a vector upon b vector. Suppose your this vector and this vector is also in the motion, so it will change the direction as per your sine theta. Okay, now a and b means a vector A is rotating towards a b and effect is taken on a b. By right hand thumb rule or Maxwell's screw rule, the direction of the resultant case perpendicular into a plane in the diagram. A cross b means b is rotating and A is affected on that same situation, depends on each other. Closing and opening of the tap is the best example. Properties of cross product. For example, you have to remember these properties for solving any sum of or solving the theories. Vector product result a vector. A vector product and cross vector is commutative. A cross b is equal to minus b cross a, and any two cap vectors multiplied by same vector will be a 0. I cross j is k, k cross k is I, k cross I is j. Similarly, j cross I is minus k, k cross I is equal to minus I cross k is equal to minus j. It depends on the projection or the coordinates which you are considering. So you can write your a cross b in terms of that I j k, a x a y z, b x b y v z. So that can be written as the following equation, and a cross b can be written is under root of ay bz minus az by whole square plus ax bz minus az by whole square plus ax by minus ay bz whole square. Angular velocity and the rotation with angular velocity. See in the screen, you can see the particle described. A particle p is described the circle with the center axis and the radius of perpendicular of the point. We can also show the linear velocity of that particle such that your angular velocity is d phi by dt and omega is equal to d phi by dt. So limit tends to delta t by d phi by dt, and v is equal to limit tends to delta t ds by dt, and ds is equal to d phi by dt into cross r. See the figure, where is the omega? It depends on the motion. So v is equal to omega by r. Omega r v are actually mutually perpendicular to each other, and omega is perpendicular to a plane of containing r and v. Okay, similarly for angular acceleration, alpha is equal to d phi by dt. Okay, so you can write for torque or momentum of force, it is in the direction of the line f. You can see on the screen the rotation angular of the force is the momentum of force. It can be preferred as a torque, and it can be changed as per the direction movement. The force acting on the single particle at the particle p, those position with respect to origin O gives the position vector r. Then the momentum can of the force acting on the particle with respect to origin r and defined as the vector product. Your torque is equal to r cross f. Now for the moment of the force, the vector quantity the magnitude of torque is equal to RF R cross F, so that is RF sin theta. Theta depends on the angle, you can say that, uh, where R is magnitude of the position vector R, and length OP comma F is the magnitude of force, and theta is the angle between R and F as seen in the screen. Okay, now same thing here, you can write your torque is equal to R sin theta. I've taken F that side. When your it is exactly on 90 degrees, so R perpendicular, F or parallel, so you can write R parallel F. Suppose your F is perpendicular, so you will write R F perpendicular. So note that your torque is 0, or if R is 0 or F is 0 or theta is 0 or 180, the moment of the force vanishes if the either magnitude of the force is 0 or the line of action of the force passes through the origin. Angular momentum of angle and the momentum of moment of momentum. So what is the moment of momentum? Moment of momentum, the word itself, the statement itself is very complicated, or you can say why. See, the rotation is a simpler thing, but it can be a translation also, or pure or rotational also. So movement and momentum is a tricky thing, because a momentum is a moment of a momentum or a regular momentum. A single particle, those position with respect to the origin O is given by the position vector R, experience the linear momentum P, then angular momentum of the particle origin O can be defined as R cross P, and that can be also written in matrix form, and R is your xi, yi and zi terms with respect to that terms, and similarly P also can be px, py and pz term, and you can write in the matrix form as you have seen earlier. So angular momentum of the vector quantity L can be given by Lp cosine theta. So where your the terms, the direction is given in the right hand screw perpendicular to the plane containing R and F. In this case it's merging out of the plane. See, that's why the arrow is see here. So similarly, your R sin theta, if R is perpendicular, again quick, if it's parallel, if perpendicular with respect to the P, the same case you have done earlier, but only change is perpendicular at which angle and which direction. Okay, so you can write your dl by, so dl by dt is equal to d by dt r cross p. So using the maths law, you can write your dr by dt cross p plus r d by dp by dt. So you are just first differentiating first term, adding that, then second term in the O. Now you know that your dr by dt is equal to v, so m cross mv, p is also mv, r vector plus dp by dt is same as it is, but in this next step you can see your v is common, so I'm taking out, and v cross v is 0, you know that term, because same vectors are multiplied here. So since in this situation you can just will get your r cross dp by dt, so your r cross f you will get, and your r cross f is tau, so you can write your dl by dt is tau. Now for the torque and angular momentum of a system of particle, L is equal to n1 plus L2 and goes on, that is summation of Li, I is equal to 1 to n. So angular momentum is L cross P, can be given as summation of Ri Pi. So where P is equal to MIVI, summation of PI. So your L is equal to summation of LI. So dl by dt is equal to d by dt summation of Li, or dl by dt is equal to summation of d by dt Li. In other terms, you can write your dl by dt is the summation of torque I. So where torque is the of the ith particle is torque is Ri cross Fi. Okay. So torque is equal to summation of torque I, where I is from 1 to n, and even it is a combination of internal and external term also. Okay, where internal is equal to Ri Fi cross Fi internal, and external is Ri cross Fi external. Okay, the force between the two particles are not only equal and opposite, but also direction along the line is of these two particles. In this case, the contribution of the particle internal and external forces totally torque of system is zero. Why we are considering outside zero? Because just for considering making this situation easier, we are doing that. Since the particle resulting each reaction pair force is zero, so you can write your dl by dt is equal to torque external and the time rate of the angular momentum of the system of particle about the equal of the sum of the external torque acting on the system of taken the same particle. Thus you know that conservation of law of momentum, dl by dt is equal to torque, and torque is equal to 0, then your dl by dt, so L will be the constant. Thus the total external torque of the system, the particle is 0, and the total internal angular momentum of the system is conserved. The above equation of the equivalent of three scalar quantities.